No one is illegal on stolen lands. Well, I guess that's the new phrase of the month because ever since Billie Eilish said that in her acceptance speech in the Grammys, you have people fighting over whether she had some sort of truth in it or she's just being a virtue signaling celebrity. But I think there is a very important topic behind all of this that a lot of people are missing. And it might get real deep. So, prepárate, I'm gonna dissect this. Because esto es Mari sin censura, vamos para allá. Okay, I know you guys don't live under a rock. I know you don't, but I'm gonna play the video in case some people do live under a rock. But on Sunday night, the Grammys were on. And of course, the Grammys are the annual insurance policy for many musicians because in order to keep the record labels happy, their brand deals happy, and the fans happy, whatever's happening in the world, they have to morally virtue signal about said topic. And of course, Sunday night was no exception because all these celebrities came out and said their little speeches, and Billie Eilish got probably the most heat for what she said. Let me put it up on the screen for you guys. Here we go.
Can't believe this. Everyone else in this category are so amazing. I love you so much. I feel so honored every time I get to be in this room. And as grateful as I feel, I honestly don't feel like I need to say anything, but that...
Ooh. She's getting prepared.
No one is illegal on stolen land.
Oh, she feels so brave saying that. Oh, and here's Feather Lady. Here's Feather Lady.
Yeah, it's just really hard to know what to say and what to do right now. And I feel really hopeful.
Well, so she goes on and continues. She says her please and thank yous. But I bet it is really hard for Billie to know what to do right now because, of course, it's been mentioned by the conservative influencers that she, in fact, lives in a multi-million-dollar Malibu beachfront home that was originally the Chumash land. So is she going to give her mansion up to the Native Americans that once got that land stolen from? Highly doubt it. But that clip made the internet go insane because, like I said, the conservatives are fighting over it and the leftists are giving their support to Billie Eilish. And no matter what you think about this clip, right, even if you find some truth in it, I think there's a bigger picture that we are missing. And since I love to philosophize, I literally love it. Yoel is sick of me at this point, you guys, because I'm always like, what does this mean for society? I have no one else to do this with. So please put your comments below. Let's have a dialogue. Let's see what you guys think of my perception of this and my philosophizing of this topic because I'm about to get real deep. I can already see it. It's not that deep, Mari. But let's talk about it. So let's really digest what she's saying here. So at first glance, you might say, okay, well, it kind of makes sense. No illegals on stolen land. The United States stole so much land from the Native Americans that were here. And yes, okay, so we can concede that the United States, that there were Native Americans on this land, and the United States, with their force, their weapons, took a lot of that land and colonized it, settled it, conquered it, whatever adjective that you want to put. Because, well, that's the history. There were people here before, and now the United States is a recognized country that wasn't there before, right? However, when you really think about it, no illegals on stolen land means that then there would be no countries because every single country around the world, every single culture that we see around the world today are only in existence because their ancestors, past people stole land from others. Now, I want to repeat that. What we see in the world today, every single culture that we see in the world today is a result of their past ancestors stealing land from other people. That means Mexican culture today is a result of other tribes and other people stealing land and stealing culture from others that we got the Mexican culture today. Same thing in Peru. Same thing in Argentina. Same thing in Ghana. Same thing in Botswana. Same thing in China, Japan, North Korea, and etc., etc. Every single civilization that we see in the world today is only there because their ancestors did the same thing Americans did. The same exact thing. And so if we really take that and we say there are no illegals on stolen land, that she didn't say that there's no illegals on stolen American land. No, she just said stolen land. And so, Billie, I would like to say, or people that agree with this position, I would like to propose this idea. If it is true that the United States is not a legitimate country because we stole this land and no one can be illegal on this land, but we also know that in Mexico, for example, the Mexican culture that we see today is only the result of past civilizations conquering other lands, including the Aztec Empire and the Mayan Empire. Would you also carry that phrase over to Mexicans? Would you say that about Mexican land? Mexicans living in Mexico. Would you say that any immigrant that comes from any country below Mexico, let's say Guatemala, El Salvador, Honduras, anyone that wants to go up, move past up and immigrate to Mexico, let's say, there are a lot of immigrants in Mexico, by the way, that's not just Mexican. Would you say to Mexico that they don't have a legitimate claim on Mexican identity, Mexican culture, and Mexican land because it was originally the Aztecs? Or originally the Mayans? Or originally the Chapucupaquets? I think I'm saying that right. Would you say that phrase to a Mexican living in Mexico today? Would you go and say, well, this tribe that we see in Mexico that is practically diminished or has very low population, they have a right to be where this person is living because that Mexican's ancestors colonized this tribe. Would Billie Eilish say that to Mexicans? Would she say that, again, to Peruvians? Would she say that to the Chinese? Because, again, like I said, there are no illegals on stolen land. And leftists don't say stolen American land. They just say land. So we can go all around the world. We can literally go all around the world and tell people of other cultures that they don't have a legitimate stake to their country because their ancestors colonized somebody else. Think about that for a second. Really think about that for a second. Why wouldn't somebody like Billie Eilish or somebody that agrees with this position, right? The left wing of the aisle, let's say. Why wouldn't they say that to a Mexican? Why wouldn't they say that to a Persian? Why wouldn't they say that to a Turkish person? Why wouldn't they say that to a Palestinian? To be controversial. Why wouldn't they say that to them? And I think it's because Western progressivism has gotten to the point where we're so tolerant, we're so accepting of other people, which is a good virtue, by the way, in my mind. We're so tolerant of other people that we defend other people's culture while simultaneously destroying our own. Because it's okay to uplift Mexican culture. It's okay to want Mexican culture to flourish. It's okay for Mexicans to have their Mexican culture, right? Because they wouldn't say that to a Mexican. They wouldn't say, you're not allowed to have Mexican culture because you're on stolen land. You're not allowed to have a Mexican state because you're on stolen land. They wouldn't say that to them. In fact, they want them to flourish. They want them to have a beautiful Mexican culture. They want them to express their identity, express themselves, right? But why don't they extend that joy, that want, to American culture? And more broadly, to Western culture. Now, you'll see online that people are saying ridiculous things like there's no such thing as American culture, which is ludicrous in and of itself. Of course, there's American culture. The fact that I'm debating with you, we're speaking in English, we know what democracy is. That is a part of American culture and Western culture to begin with, right? Western culture bred the philosophy of liberty. Western culture created democracy. American culture uplifted it. Not to mention, the hamburgers, the fries, the McDonald's, all part of our culture. All of the TV shows that we've created, the lingo that we've created, the idiosyncrasies that we have created, that all over the globe people know us for. People know us because we were raised in this country and there is American culture. I mean, me taking Yoel to do things for the very first time has really opened this fact for me. Like, wow, there's so much culture in the United States. There's so much beautiful culture in the United States. And yeah, do immigrants shape that culture? Of course. But of course, there is American culture. So why would Billie Eilish or people like Billie Eilish want to maintain Mexican culture, want to maintain Mexican identity and legitimacy of their nation, but they don't extend it to the United States? And I think that's a very interesting question. I have been pondering this for a long, long time. Trust me, I've been thinking, why do particularly white, non-Latino white people care so much about uplifting other cultures, but they want to destroy theirs? They want to delegitimize theirs. They want to say that, oh, well, this is stolen land. We can't have a country because this was stolen. While not also realizing Mexico is a state today because Mexicans stole other people's lands. And same with virtually every country in the world. Every single country in the world. It's a really interesting question. I haven't really put my finger into it. I do think ultimately it has something to do with cultural Marxism and shifting the paradigm of oppressor to oppressed from economic materialism, historical materialism, to racial inequality. I really do think that. But I haven't quite figured out why we're so quick to hate American values, hate American existence, hate American culture, go so far to say that there is no American culture, while wanting to uplift and maintain and preserve and make that a point to preserve other cultures around the world. It's interesting. It's a very interesting dilemma. And I think it's a topic that nobody's really talking about. You can see these 60-second clips online of their little take on what Billie Eilish said and how stupid it is. But there is this bigger question. The bigger question being, again, why do Americans hate their own culture? Strange. Because no culture around the world is perfect. Let me tell you that. They've all had atrocities. They've all had horrible leadership, horrible governments, horrible things that have happened. When we retroactively look past history, every country has had their atrocities. But why do Americans tend to self-loathe American culture so much? It's weird. And I don't know the answer to it. I guess I wanted to spark a debate in the comments below. I want to spark this idea. But that's what I'm really trying to get an answer to. Like I said, I think it might be cultural Marxism. I think it is that. But I'm open. I'm open to being corrected. I'm open to new ideas. I'm open to a new theory on this. I'm open to changing my mind. I mean, let me just tell you before I end this program that I'm open to always changing my mind. If there's new facts, if there's new ways of perception, if somebody brings a really interesting way of looking at things, I'm like, ooh, that's kind of cool. Let me massage that. And I can always change my mind. But I do find it extremely strange that if we take this no illegals on stolen land to its logical philosophical conclusion, then what are we doing? Why hate your culture so much? Y nada. I'm looking forward to hearing what you guys think. And thank you for philosophizing with me because I do think it's really interesting. Y nada. Eso fue Mari Sin Censura. This was Mari Sin Censura. Don't forget to subscribe below. Leave your comments on what you think. And I'll see you guys around for the next episode. Dale, vamos para allá.